be able to shape some policy on NPAs in the near future. That's the word coming in from the RBI Deputy Governor, Mr. S.S. Mundra. In an exclusive conversation, he says that the Reserve Bank of India is discussing various options to resolve the NPA problem with the Finance Ministry. Let's listen in to that exclusive conversation Lata had.
The person I'm going to speak with is Mr. Mundra, the Deputy Governor in charge of banking supervision at the Reserve Bank of India. Mr. Mundra, thank you very much for sparing me time, because your plans for the banking sector and the resolution of difficult loans is what all Indian investors are watching, all foreign investors are watching, India Inc. is watching, bankers are watching. Well, first up, sir, this is the first interview I was trying to postpone, because always I expect that today evening the Reserve Bank and the government are going to announce some big scheme or some small tweaks. Is something coming soon to speed up resolution?
Let me tell you, there are various possibilities and various formulations which have been under active discussion within RBI as well as with Government of India. And I think you people are aware of those things. Even some of the information I get from the flashes which you run about those activities. Before I say something on this, let me first make it very clear that, as I mentioned, there are several possibilities and formulations which are being discussed. But as of today, I can't say that either it is a settled view between the RBI and Government of India, or even an institutional view within RBI. So what I'm trying to tell you, or going to tell you, is some of the discussions which have taken place, which give the possible indication of things to come, and maybe some of my individual or personal perceptions on various issues. So I think let's convey it very clearly, and let us carry our conversation with that being very clear. Having said that, yes, there are several issues right from the various schemes which have been introduced, whether there is a need to modify any of those schemes or even introduce another scheme, whether the mechanism of CDR has to be viewed into in any modified way, the institution of oversight committee, or any legal empowerment is required in that respect, functioning of JLF. So this is a whole range of issues which have been discussed, where the various viewpoints have emerged. Some of the viewpoints, there had been finally a commonality of view. Some of the viewpoints are still at a distance from each other, but continue to be discussed. So I think that is where we are.
Okay, so I'll tell you what hinders resolution. The expectation that a better CDR mechanism is coming. That is preventing bankers from taking any decision, because let's wait and see. So is something coming soon?
I think it's quite a lengthy discourse, but if better CDR mechanism means a more relaxed or benign CDR mechanism, if that is what translates into the meaning, then I think that is not the case. Let me yeah, please.
I'm not sure that is the only point at the back of the banker's mind. When you say relaxed, you mean more time for provisioning, perhaps. But what they would like to know is, under CDR, only 10% of debt can be converted into equity. Will you allow more? Will some specific rules be relaxed?
Okay, so I think let me go into little length on this, because it is a very relevant question. At one extreme, the CDR mechanism, as you said, only 10% of debt can be converted. On the other side, there is S4A or SDR, which have a provision for the conversion to much higher. Now, from what I understand and what I have been hearing from the banking industry and the representations who have been coming, that 50% is something which may not be really possible in all the cases, and this can be, sustainable portion can be even less than 50%. Okay, good point, acceptable point. The point is to be understood. Number one, the CDR mechanism, apart from those restrictions, but the main attraction, if you go in by the hindsight at that point of time, that it was providing a kind of forbearance as far as the classification is concerned. That is no more there, and it is unlikely to come back. If we are talking about the reinvention of CDR mechanism with all those possibilities, that those are clearly not on the table. So that's the one thing. Now the coming to the sustainable part, there can be two possibilities. Again, the wish list which keeps on coming. One possibility is that sustainability is to be assessed on the basis of a much distant future rather than an immediate future. And if you say that it is a much distant future, the viability would emerge, let us say, 2 years from now. It means cash flow would also get strengthened over a period of time. It means repayment should also be calibrated to the cash flow. And then this is the whole new structure which is to be put in place. I think you have tracked the banking system for long enough to understand what I am trying to tell. Again, I think that would not be a realistic thing to do. So that is the one possibility. Other possibility is that yes, you restrict the cash flow expectation to a reasonable period, which originally was more constrained, and on the demand of industry, we already provided a slightly longer horizon, and decide the sustainable portion. I think the key point is, if the sustainable portion is below 50%, then what to do? Okay, I would believe is all right if the cash flow projections are not unrealistic, they pass the test, and sustainable portion is coming less than that, then it is for the lenders to go ahead with that prescription. Only added expectation in that, that what would that mean? That remaining portion has to be provided for. Now, expectation, if expectation is that remaining providing for is again spread over a very long period of time, then again that is not a right expectation. So I would say is a justified case which can be put up, but you have to clean it up with all those additives and all those expectations which are really not meeting the requirement of a prudential regulation. And then yes, everything can be discussed and worked out on the table.
So can we expect that you will tweak the S4A to allow more than 50% unsustainable debt?
So as I said, that this was something which was put up, and I have already explained, and as I mentioned, there is no institutional view right now at this point of time. But I have clearly spelled out that what is my perception around it, and to my mind, yes, it is something which can certainly be looked into in a realistic manner.
Okay. No, but the longer it takes for a word to come from the regulator, the longer will the resolution of some cases get postponed.
I can't disagree with you. It's a very valid point. But understand one thing. If this is to be done, finally in a cleaned up version as I am mentioning, one thing which it will entail, and I think you will be clear about it, that one thing which primarily it would entail is the availability of capital. So it means the engagement has to go beyond the lender and regulator, but also the owner. And that is where all the engagements were going on. And as I mentioned, that there had been quite meaningful, and I would say also the fruitful engagements. So, and you must have heard the statement which have been coming from the finance minister as well as the other concerned authorities in government also. So putting all that together, I would tend to think that yes, something we should be able to give a shape in near future.
Any timeline at all?
It's difficult to put a timeline. Let me be very frank about it.
Okay.
But it could be anything. It could be very near.
Okay.
But my sense, since there is so much of seriousness and engagement, and so much discussions have already taken place, it should not be something that which will be indefinitely or very prolonged.